Butter dog. Dog with the butter. What's up, boys? It's time. It's gamer time. Let's go. Click. Oh, there you go. Hey, soldier. After hanging up on Shion and searched for Rika-chan's phone number on my school's contact list. There it is. My fingers trembled with urgency, and I failed multiple times to put in the simple 5-digit number.
Keiichi. こんな時間に電話？夜遅くは先方に失礼だからよしなさい。
今はそれどころじゃないんだよ!
I shouted angrily at my mother, listening to the dial tone. Pick up. Come on, pick up! The time was 11 p.m. It certainly wasn't early. It was essentially the middle of the night. Had Rika-chan already gone to bed? Her phone would be ringing constantly, though, so would she get back up for me? Rika-chan didn't pick up. She didn't pick up. She didn't pick up! Maybe she just happened to miss it. Maybe her bed was just too far away from the phone. The sound of a phone ring gets clearer and clearer the longer you go on sleeping. Then, the bathroom? Yeah, she must be taking a bath. If that was the case, then even if she heard the phone, she wouldn't be able to pick up. It was a little late to be taking a bath, but it was possible she normally took baths right before going to bed. I'll wait 30 minutes, then try calling again. Even as I was thinking that, I called her house over and over again. I kept calling. Over and over. Again and again. I kept on calling her, but she didn't pick up even once. I think I kept trying for about 30 minutes. Yet, she wasn't picking up. Were my phone calls so persistent that she had gotten scared of picking up the receiver? No, that couldn't possibly be it. There was no point in doing this any longer. Best thing to do would be to go there in person. Where was Rika-chan's house, though? Shit. I never even asked her where she lived. Her residence was written in the contact list, but it was an address with mostly numbers, so I couldn't tell where it was just by reading it. Isn't there a map or something in here? Rika Furide. Her last name was Furide. It was a bit of an odd last name, so it might be easy to find. Thinking that, I rummaged around the drawer with the phone book, but could only find things like takeout menus and phone numbers for public establishments. Shit. Tore one thing after another out of the drawer, but I didn't come up with any clues as to where Rika-chan's house was. Calm down, Keiichi. If you don't know, then just ask. Ask someone who does know.
そうだ! レナなら知ってるに違いない!
I looked up Reina's phone number on the contact list. Reina Ryugu. There she was.
Moshi. Ryugu desu.
It was the voice of a grumpy-sounding man. It must have been Reina's father. I'm calling in the middle of the night. I need to be polite.
夜分遅くに申し訳ありません。前原と申しますが、レナさんはいらっしゃいますか？
レイナは風呂に入っていますが。出たかな。レイナ、友達から電話だぞ。
Oh, right. Reina Ryugu was her real name, wasn't it? I'd gotten so used to calling her Reina that hearing her real name caught me a little off guard.
もしもし。 お電話変わりました。
あ、俺だよ。刑事だ。夜遅くにすまん。
あれ？圭一くん？こんな時間に何かな？
実は、リカちゃんの家がどこにあるのか知りたいんだ。
Reina seemed a little appalled that I'd call her for something like that at this hour. However, she spoke her next words seriously, as if she'd caught on to how urgent my need was.
うん。いいよ。古出神社の境内に集会所があるよね。その裏手に2階建ての倉庫小屋があるのを知ってるかな？そこに住んでるんだよ。
I couldn't immediately visualize the place, but as long as I knew that she lived on the shrine grounds, I'd just have to take a look around.
わかった。ありがとう。こんな遅くにすまなかったな。親父さんに謝っといてくれ。
そんなのはいいよ、圭一くん。それより、どうしてリカちゃんの家を聞くのかな？
Reina asked in an unusually sharp way, halting me before I could hang up the phone. I hesitated for a moment about whether to tell her. He was killed because I told him.
圭一くん？聞こえてるなら答えてほしいな。どうしてリカちゃんの家の場所をこんな時間に聞きたいのかな？
Reina affected her usual tone, but beneath her words lay a certain tension, like she'd intuitively sensed something was going on. What will you do, Keiichi? If it's Reina, can't I tell her? He was killed because he found out. I revealed everything, so he was killed.
圭一くん？レナは真剣に聞いてるんだけどな。答えてほしいよ。
Oh boy, what did Keiichi do now? We just called Reina to figure out where Rika is because we're worried that she's probably been demoned away because we told her what happened. Reina asked me once again in a tone so forceful I couldn't imagine her ever using it normally. I was taken aback by her vigor. Reina was Rika-chan's friend too. She had the right to be concerned about Rika-chan disappearing. If I told Reina, then even if only for a moment, I could drive away my horrifying fears.
レナ、理由を聞かれると困るんだが。
うん。
Reina's tone was seriousness itself. Just from that tone, I could feel her saying, "No matter what you say, Keiichi-kun, I'll believe you." That subtle sense of security gave me the courage to reveal the truth.
リカちゃんが危ない気がするんだ。
それは虫の知らせかな？それともリカちゃんに危険が迫っている何か確信がある？
I really didn't have time to go back and forth with Reina about this. Still, I think listening to her calm voice soothed my pointless impatience.
確信はないけど。
Yet, I still hesitated. I had told Rika-chan that we had snuck into the ritual storehouse. The mayor, to whom Shion had confessed before that, had already disappeared. So, it was possible that Rika-chan also. I didn't know how to explain it to Reina. While I was tongue-tied, Reina spoke up.
変なこと聞いてごめんね。考えたら確信なんか必要なかった。
Reina laughed a little, seeming a bit absent-minded. I wasn't exactly in the mood to laugh, so this time I was dumbfounded. Reina continued in a cheerful yet still purposeful voice.
友達のことが心配になって、それを確かめるのに理由なんかいらないと思う。仮にリカちゃんが寝てて、それを起こしてしまったとしても、それが理由なら私たちは誰も怒らないと思うよ。
Reina, thank you.
じゃあ、まずは圭一君に確認するね。 リカちゃんの家に電話はしたんだよね。それでどうしても繋がらないから家の場所を聞いてきたんだね。
ああ。10分以上は鳴らし続けたと思う。ひょっとしたら気づかなくて寝てるだけなのかも。
リカちゃんの家はとても狭いの。だから電話が鳴ったらたとえ寝ていても気づかないわけはないよ。さとこちゃんもいるんだから2人揃って気づかないわけはない。
さとこってリカちゃんと一緒に住んでるのか？
うん。知らなかったの？今はその話は後ね。とにかく電話をそれだけ鳴らして誰も出ないのは絶対におかしいよ。
Raina understood that the situation wasn't normal far faster than I could have ever imagined her to. It made her seem dependable. However, the fact that Raina had acknowledged this also meant that the best case possibility of it all just being the result of my own needless fears went out the window. Hey Salsa, how you doing?
私も今からすぐにリカちゃんの家に行くね。一緒に行く？なら迎えに行くよ。
わかった。じゃあいつもの待ち合わせ場所で合流しよう。
Glad to hear you're doing good, buddy.
待ってるぞ。
私、ケイチ君の家に迎えに行くから。だからお家で待ってていいよ。それからご家族に私と一緒にリカちゃんの家に行ってくるって伝えておいてね。
I'm doing pretty good. Not too bad. Not too... I'm kind of, eh.
うちでいいのか？時間のロスのような。
あと、みーちゃんには電話した？みーちゃんはこういう時すっごく頼もしいの。まだなら私から電話しておくね。
My thoughts froze for a moment. Shion had just told me to be careful around Mion during our phone conversation a little while ago. If the Sonozaki main house was somehow lurking behind the surface of the annual freak deaths, then the current heir to the family, Mion, wouldn't be uninvolved. So, wouldn't that mean she wasn't uninvolved in what happened this year to Takano-san and Tomitake-san? And also the mayor's disappearance?
じゃあね。すぐに行くからね。待っててね。
That's all Reina said before hurriedly hanging up. Now wasn't the time to be doubting Mion. I needed to make sure Rika-chan was safe. I got changed and grabbed the key to my bike. I figured things would go more smoothly if we met up in the place we usually do before school. Reina wouldn't need to come all the way to my house. My parents would probably have objected if I told them I was leaving, so I creeped out without a word. The night was unusually warm and disagreeably humid. She said that Rika-chan and Satoko lived together, right? Then it wasn't only Rika-chan. Satoko wasn't there either? Realizing what them living together really meant caused my thoughts to immediately take a turn for the worse. That can't be. Satoko is... She's got nothing to do with any of this! Even if there were a reason for Rika-chan to disappear, there shouldn't be one for Satoko. Reina was really fast. She approached me on her bike at an amazing speed. Her breath was ragged, painting a clear picture of just how hurriedly she'd been going.
おう、レナ。さあ、行こうぜ。
ケイチ君、
Uh-oh.
私、お家で待っててって言ったはずだよ。
Reina's expression was all business. Was she mad? It came out of the blue and I faltered for a moment.
いや、ここで合流した方が早く出発できると思ってさ。
There is my Smecky bear. Hey, I see how you doing.
ケイチ君は本当に分かってるの？
Uh-oh. Reina shouted, clearly angry. I've never seen Reina like this before.
分かってるのかって何がだよ。
Reina seemed to notice she was scaring me, took a couple of deep breaths, then continued as if admonishing me, but I'm just a bit cold. Oh, get you warmed up, bunch up in a bunch of blankets. There you go. Her expression didn't soften at all.
ケイチ君。昨日村長さんがいなくなって村中で大騒ぎになったよね。
ああ。
そんな中で、ケイチ君はリカちゃんとサトコちゃんがいなくなったって言ってるんだよ。
ああ。そういうことになるな。
じゃあ、もっと用心しなくちゃダメだよ。こんな夜中にたった一人でこんなところで突っ立ってるなんて不用心にも程があるんだから。
Began to understand where Reina's anger was coming from. Oh, yeah, I see. Rika may or may not be dead. We don't know. That's what we're going to find out right now.
ご家族にはちゃんと私とリカちゃんの家に行くって伝えたよね。万が一、私とケイチ君が揃って失踪しちゃうようなことがあっても、いつどの辺でいなくなったのかを残すことができる。
Why are you yelling at me, Icy? I'm just reading, bro. Reina was perfectly level-headed in this emergency situation. Ever since the nights of the Watanagashi, every night someone had died or disappeared. On the night itself, Takano-san and Tomitake-san met strange ends. On the next night, the elder vanished. Now on the next night after that, Rika-chan and Satoko were nowhere to be found. You didn't protect her. You should have jumped into the game and slapped her. You know what, you're right. You're right. I should have just been on some Tron shit and just jumped in the game. I hadn't been thinking of anyone but myself, but it wasn't enough to say that Hinamizawa was a little weird at the moment. It was in fact extremely strange. Reina had even anticipated our own disappearances, and had told me to tell my family where I was going. I was embarrassed at my own carelessness, and the need to be embarrassed made me afraid of the night. Did you check out the Digimon? Oh, well, I haven't yet, but I will soon.
ごめん。まだ行ってなかった。
うん。じゃあ一緒に言いに行こう。
With Reina beside me, I wheeled back towards my house. Oh. The moon seemed strangely high in the sky. Sky that was uselessly vast and cold. So that no matter what, it would never seem to me like a dream. This cruel fact had already confronted me. On such a crazy night, Reina had been unimaginably dependable. Seriously, it's a fucking moon. Hinamizawa's metamorphosis, enough to make Reina caution me against carelessness, was to me the most fearsome thing of all. Hey, whoa! Oh, let me throw out some shoutouts real quick. What, you expected to be on the floor? Let's... Whoa. I see. And... Oh, no. Alright. There we go. That way I don't forget. Don't shove. I'll do whatever I goddamn want. How are you? How is Higurashi treating you? Yes. Possibly absolutely filthy because Rika may or may not be dead. We're going to find that out. Yes. Did you know if the moon came any closer, it would cause tsunami and disasters? Wait, what? Rika is dead? Well, she might be dead or missing. We don't know. We don't know yet. Inamizawa's metamorphosis, enough to make Reina caution me against carelessness, was, to me, the most fearsome thing of all. The moon seemed strangely high in the sky. We met up with Mion on the way, and she, of course, was unsure whether to believe me about Rika-chan and Satoko's disappearance.
ケイちゃん、本気で言ってんの？もし冗談だったら、かなり怒るよ。
Mion was clearly displeased. If this were a joke, it wasn't very funny. I understood how indiscreet my words were. Ever since the day before yesterday, someone had either died or vanished every night. Satoko, the blue hair bully chick? She's the yellow hair bully chick. Or blonde, yeah, yellow. Rika-chan and Satoko, yellow, disappearing after all that was something you just couldn't say, even in jest.
みーちゃん、本当に冗談だったなら、怒るんじゃなく笑おうよ。だって冗談なんだから。私たちは、それが冗談であることを確かめなくちゃいけない。そうだね。機嫌の悪そうなことを言ってごめん。
However indiscreet a joke it may have been, if we learned that our friends were safe, it would end up as nothing more than a funny story. Having been warned about that by Reina, Mion gave a dry smile, the tension she felt loosening a bit. She mounted her bicycle as well. Our 3 bicycles, lights flashed down the pitch-black roads. They were some of the only illumination outside.
ケイちゃんはなぜ急にこんな時間にリカちゃんの家に電話なんかする気になったわけ？
Uh-oh. Mion asked me the same thing that I had trouble explaining to Reina.
虫が知らせた。じゃあ、おかしいか。
I couldn't quite tell because it was dark, but I thought I could see Mion smiling very ambiguously. I definitely understood that she wasn't convinced, though, despite the darkness.
俺さ、うたた寝してる時に悪い夢を見ると、どうしても気になっちゃうんだよ。
ケイチ君は、それでリカちゃんがさらわれる夢を見たわけかな？
いや、もっと漠然とした予感みたいなものだよ。リカちゃんが電話に出てくれたなら、レナやミオにも続けて電話するつもりだったよ。
Lies smoothly babbled out of my mouth, makeshift though they were. I was lying because I thought telling them I was connected to Shion would be like silently admitting we'd stolen into the ritual storehouse together that night. Mion didn't press me any further. I don't know whether that convinced her, or maybe she figured that making sure Rika-chan and Satoko were safe would be faster than making an issue out of it. I felt relieved and immediately a little guilty. Mion hadn't really been acting any differently these last few days, but I'm still trying to distance myself from her for some reason. It was only because of what I heard from Shion and Oishi-san, that she was the successor to some kind of super extravagant gang family. No. Was I just trying to force myself to forget? Don't do that, Keiichi. Wasn't it Mion who was the first to ask about the Knights of Watanagashi? In such a harsh tone at that. Have I already forgotten the terror I felt? At the time, Mion looked like someone different from the Mion I knew. She's at least 4. When I think about that, Mion and Shion and Oishi-san's descriptions of Mion made a tiny bit more sense. That's it, isn't it? If it wasn't for how she acted that day, then I wouldn't be feeling this way towards her now. What on earth was going on with her back then? She's forgettable. Very nice, well. Got him. Got him good. This game is sus. I was conveniently thinking only of everything she had done after that, while disregarding the very first thing, the thing I should have been looking at most, wasn't I? Mion was pedaling her bicycle in front of me, her long hair fluttering in the wind. No matter how long I looked at her back, it never gave me answers to any of my questions. We went all the way to the stone steps leading up to the shrine grounds. Of course, we weren't going to want to haul our bikes up there. So, there's no way she's 11. There's absolutely no way, bro. She looks like a 9-year-old. She looks like... Wait, no, maybe that's me. I'm not going to say that. So we parked them beside the staircase instead.
フルデ神社か。
みんな公園みたいな感覚で勝手に出入りしてるけど、本当はここはフルデ家の立派な私有地なんだよ。
A 9-year-old? Yeah. So the entire shrine is private property. The catchphrase is, oh, which is just a laugh. That's not a phrase. It really makes you feel the passage of time. 10 or 20 years ago, it would have looked the exact same.
だとすると、フルデ家って結構な旧家なんじゃないのか？代々続いた由緒ある。
うん。ない。おかしいよ。
Reina said something clearly disquieting, so I ran over to her.
どうしたレナ？
リカちゃんとサトコちゃんはいつもここに自転車を止めてるはずなの。ほら、どこにもない。
I took a look around. Indeed, there were no other bicycles aside from the ones we'd taken to get here.
他の場所に止めてる可能性もあるんじゃない？例えば、担いで石段を上がったとか。
女の子には無理だよ、ケイチ君。
Just as she said, I couldn't imagine Rika-chan and Satoko lugging their bikes all the way up there. We hadn't yet knocked on Rika-chan's door, but reality was already sparking some ideas that weren't what you'd call good. Maybe they were just parked under some trees and we hadn't noticed them. I refused to believe that not being able to find their bikes here was proof that they disappeared.
行こうぜ。家に行った方がはるかに確実だろう。
We all nodded and dashed up the stone steps. We passed through the red arc and came out into the shrine grounds, which was covered in neat gravel. It was so quiet here, as though the Watanagashi festival had never happened.
で、リカちゃんたちが住んでいる家ってのはどこにあるんだ？
こっち。ついてきて。
Reina took the lead and sprinted off. We went towards the assembly hall beside the shrine, then looped around behind it. In the darkness of the night, we found a small, prefab 2-story shack that looked like a warehouse.
明かり消えてるね。
寝てるんじゃない？
ノックしてみよう。
Reina and Mion neared the shack, which didn't really look like a place people would live. They had such a beautiful shrine, so I figured they'd live in an equally beautiful house. It was far from what I had expected.
リカちゃん、さとこちゃん、いる？
Reina shouted up toward the second floor. Her voice was restrained at first, but it steadily grew louder. No answer. In fact, there wasn't any sort of activity in the house at all.
寝てるのかもしれない。起こしてみよう。
Mion banged on the shutter with both hands, and the loud sounds echoed into our surroundings. Who would have to notice this much noise? It would turn on the light in their room, fling open the windows, and yell, "What time do you think it is?" That, however, wasn't happening. There was absolutely no response. Mion stopped slamming her fist on the shutter, and a sudden silence fell over us. The silence aroused terrible thoughts in us. I could feel the blood draining from my face.
鍵かかってる。どこかから中に入れないかな。
Reina showed no signs of stopping. It didn't look like she'd admit they weren't there until we went inside and saw it for ourselves. That refusal to give in gave me strength.
2階の窓とか、鍵をかけ忘れてないかな。俺、ちょっと試してみる。
ケイちゃん、はしご。
Mion brought over a ladder that was standing against the house. The footing was a little unstable for me to be climbing it, but Mion held the ladder firmly in place for me. I hadn't climbed too many ladders. By inexperience with them exposed, I climbed up one step at a time and tried to open each window on the second floor.
みーちゃん、私念のため本宅の方も見てくるね。すぐ戻るから。
Reina darted away. What? A main house?
フルデ家の本当の家だよ。両親が亡くなって以来、ずっと放置してあるそうだけど。
あ、そうか。リカちゃんのご両親って亡くなってるんだよな。
At that point, I recalled something else. Wasn't Satoko living here too?
さとこも親なしだよ。お社様のたたりってことで、両親が崖から落っこちてね。お兄さんだったサトシくんもいなくなっちゃって。
サトシって前に聞いた名前だな。
I remembered. He was the one who disappeared last year because of the curse.
それ以来、サトコはリカちゃんと一緒にこの小屋で暮らしてるんだよ。互いに身寄りのない一人ぼっち同士。
Thanks for the shout out, Mochi. I was prepping dinner, but I heard you do it. No problem, Mark. I hope you have a fantastic dinner.
助け合ってね。
本宅って言ったか？そっちで暮らした方が楽だろうに。
The curtains were drawn, so I couldn't get a good look inside to see, but two young girls living together seemed like a pretty tough life.
初めはそうしてたみたい。でも、両親を思い出すから辛いって言って。
Also, what do you think of the current situation? Who do you think did things if someone did it? Well, I will always forever be sus of Mion. Just because, how could I not be? But I am also of the opinion that Oyashira-sama's curse is a real ass thing, and it might really just be Oyashira-sama just demoning away people. It's probably a mix of both Oyashira and the villagers. I had no idea. I feel really bad for them. They were normally so cheerful at school that I never even realized an atom of this. I think Keiichi is sus. Well, okay, well, let me put it this way. Keiichi is sus, but not for murder reasons. Keiichi's definitely sus, just not in the... just not in the sense that we think.
リカちゃんもサトコも大変なんだな。
A weird boy.
呪われてるんだよ。
Whoa, okay, alright, Mion.
え?
Suddenly, Mion said something in such a low voice that it sounded like she was really cursing someone. And I didn't let it slide. Strange Homo sapien. I turned around on the ladder to face her and asked her again.
ミオン、お前、今、なんて言った?
Peculiar man.
呪われてるって言ったの。
Oh. Mion, still holding onto the ladder, brought her head up to look me in the eyes. As soon as our eyes met, an absolute zero jolt of electricity surged through my body. Oh, God, that CG is so fucking creepy, man. Mion's eyes clouded over, and within them boiled and bubbled. Stupid chaos. Oh my God, are they gonna kiss? The fish. Whoa, what is wrong with you? Oh my God, are they gonna kiss? And like you just staring at like fucking demon eyes. Yeah. They whirled around and they whirled around and around like a raging sea, and bubbles floated to the surface. Little smoochy smooch. She's staring so intensely at him. Damn! Damn! Demons can be hot. This is normal behavior to me. I had, at some point, been trapped on this ladder, like being cornered on a dead-end street. You know, I had a feeling that, like, having Mion hold the ladder was probably the worst possible thing that could happen. Your fate is in my hands, Keiichi Maibara. If I ever have to voice Mion, I'm giving her the Emperor Palpatine voice. Do it. Kill him. Kill him now. Keiichi Maibara. Rika is cursed. She's not a demon, she just has the shark eyes, come on. Just fall down on her and wrestle, drop on her sad sack of a body, honestly. And from the turnbuckle, Keiichi Maibara!
ミオン、お前、なんて顔してんだよ。
Just hit her with the 619, bro. I intended to follow that up with, "You're going too far with this joke," and give her a forced smile. However, on such uneven footing as I was, the only thing that came out of my mouth was a hoarse groan, as I desperately struggled to not let nausea overwhelm me.
北条聡子はね、お社様のたたりを一身に受けた呪われた子なの。
Girl gives him the absolute fish ass, and he's like, why are you looking like that? 619, dance you fine, something, 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 one more time. Mion answers with a response to something I never asked, as if replying to somebody else's question. She's a 10, but she also has full-on shark eyes.
公園の展望台から転落死したのは両親だけ。あの子をみそっかす扱いしてた冷たい両親だけが死んで、 あの子は一人だけ助かった。
Okay, I see what you did there. 12, 1 point for each eye.
引き取り先であの子をいじめたおばは、綿流しの夜に異常者に脳みそがぐっちゃぐちゃに飛び散って頭が原型をとどめないくらいにめった打ちにされて殺された。
Oh my god! Jesus, Mion.
いつもあの子をかばってたサトシ君も、あの子の誕生日に突然消えてしまった。あの子をいじめていなかったのに消されてしまった。警察は家出したんだって決めつけたけど、サトシ君は逃げ出すような人じゃなかった。いつも一生懸命、誰の力も借りずにコツコツと一人懸命に努力する人だった。たった一人の妹のために身を粉にして頑張ってたのに消されてしまった。あの子のためにだけに生きていたのに消されてしまった。かわいそうなサトシ君。なんて報われないサトシ君。なんて恩知らずなあの子なの。あの子は呪われた子。
Okay, Mion. Alright, let's calm down. Hey, sugar! Take a hydrate. This seems like a bad end for sure. I don't think there's a good end to Higurashi. let's be honest. Mion likes Satoshi. Yeah, that's... Yeah, I feel like that's pretty obvious at this point. Or is this just a crazy moment? Nah, this is the good ending. I think this is the only ending.
あの子に近づけば、それが誰でも末路は同じ。
The good end may be not dying. Mion shakes the ladder violently and it procs the minigame where you have to hang on. What is this, the freaking Wolf Among Us? It's a telltale game. Higurashi has two moods. Wholesome slice of life and... myself. Either extreme good or extreme evil.
たたりで死ぬか、たたりで消えるか。
Mion, stop shaking the ladder!
あの子に安らぎなんてあるものか。あの子に安らぎなんてあるものか。
Okay, Mion, let's chill. Let's just chill out. My little Keiichi bones can't hold.
リカちゃんが消えたのもきっとサトコのせいだよ。違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違いない違い
Mion, why are you being so toxic? Why am I even surprised? We already know Mion was sus and that she's an asshole. Mion was mumbling words over and over that were no longer coherent. Is she a train? Is she a train from the famous Amazon Prime Video exclusive, The Boys? Sorry, that wasn't funny. Her shoulders were trembling so hard that I could feel it through the ladder. Chugga 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 choo choo. Holy shit, is she like a train? Like Thomas the Train? I almost lost my footing, which made me realize just how far away the ground really was.
落ち着けよ、ミオ。何のことを言ってるのかわからないよ。
I wasn't sure if she even heard me. Mion rocked back and forth, and that rocking and trembling was becoming even more violent. Help me. Ladder, it's falling. Help me. Help! Just then, I heard the sound of many people running towards us.
おい！ここだ！
Why even info dump so far away from each other with a whole ass ladder between you? I very nearly said help me outright. 4 or 5 adults led by Reina ran over here with flashlights.
ケイチ君、みーちゃん、遅れてごめんね。
助かったね。
She's like, oh, thanks. Pog.
どうも窓も戸締まりは完璧らしくてね。困ってた。
Well, you could say that. When I heard Mion talking like nothing had just happened, I again felt a chill run through me. Poggy! I love keys! Thanks, Champy! The person currently holding the ladder in place, it was definitely Mion. It was the real Mion Sonozaki. Then, the person muttering to themselves just a few seconds ago, who was that? The person who was mumbling about terrible things like curses, who was that? Oh no, that was also Mion. Honest to God. I jumped down from the ladder as if running away before Mion turned into that person who wasn't Mion a second time. The adults tried a few different keys on a key ring as they tried to open the big shutter on the first floor.
リカちゃんの家はね、もともとは町会の防災倉庫だったの。
Keiichi has no brain cell, pretty much.
だからシャッターの鍵を今でも村長さんの家が預かってるの。
今ではリカちゃんとサトコの指定だけど、まあ、もともとリカちゃんの家の敷地内だし、誰も文句は言わないけどね。
Mion gave me a smile as she said that. I, however, could only return her gaze with an aghast expression. Mion was acting all too normal now, but that only contrasted all the more sharply with her earlier un-Mion-like creepiness. Bang! Bam! Clatter, clatter, clatter. Bang! The shutter opened up for the first time in a very long while. Reina located the light switch and wasted no time going inside. I followed her in.
リカちゃん！サトコちゃん！いるなら返事をして！
We climbed a narrow staircase. It had looked like nothing more than a warehouse, but now that I was inside, I could feel how lived in it was, as a person's home. Somehow the scent of the two of them filled the place. This was definitely where Rika-chan and Satoko lived. The first floor doubled as a town assembly warehouse, but the second floor was a space entirely for living. I haven't heard this OST. The Higurashi OSTs are really good. I like the creepy ones at least. Just like a one-room apartment, past the kitchen was a living room taking up about 150 square feet. Dressers, cupboards, and the like were packed into the space, and in the corner there was a huge pile of clothes that appeared to have just been taken in from drying outside. In the center of the living room was a fold-up table, and on it were small containers for things like soy sauce and salad dressing. The sense of a frugal lifestyle drifted from all of it. It was strange that they weren't here in the middle of the night like this. The adults climbing the stairs one at a time began to make a fuss and talk amongst themselves.
どう？やっぱりいない？
いない。絶対おかしい。
The village had just been thrown into chaos yesterday because of the mayor's disappearance. Then today, even Rika-chan and Satoko had... Are they out playing somewhere together? That can't be. Their bicycles aren't here, though. Where would they have gone so late at night? Have they just not come back yet? Where did they go? The adults put forth various possibilities, and the house immediately devolved into a state of confusion. Eventually, Mion settled them down.
信じたくないけど、君吉の村長さんが消えたのが昨日の今日。無関係とは言い切れないね。
The adults' faces paled at Mion's declaration. Mai and Reina's did as well.
例えば、ご近所に行って、お茶でもごちそうになって眠っちゃって、起こすに起こせなくなってるなんて可能性ももちろんあるよね。その可能性をまず潰そう。牧野さんは、裏手から沢のあたりの家を回ってください。慶太郎さんはおじゃが池の方。岡村さんは、
Mion promptly gave directions to the villagers. The adults followed them without hesitation despite her age.
私はここに残って、電話で片っ端から心当たりに問い合わせてみます。じゃあ皆さん、そういうことで。
Got it. The adults all roared in reply and pounded back down the stairs below.
さすがみーちゃんだね。みーちゃんは学校だけじゃなく、ひなみ沢の委員長さんみたいだよね。
茶化さない茶化さない。ほらどいて。おじさんは電話を使うんだから。
Mion grinned proudly, took the receiver, and got started. Reina gave Mion a trusting look, considering her dependable for doing all of this. My feelings, though, were a little more complicated, since her leadership seemed to be affirming the Sonozaki family successor impression that Shion and Oishi-san had given me. Stop right there, Keiichi. None of that matters right now. The most important thing is to make sure that Rika-chan and Satoko are safe. Let's see. Couldn't there be a clue hinting at where they might have gone somewhere in this room?
とはいえ、そんなのわかるはずもないよな。
If we tore the whole place apart and figured out what was different from before, we might be able to speculate, but there was nothing strange about this room, and there were no clues in sight. In the first place, I had never been here before. There's no way for me to know what was different if I didn't know how the room usually looked. Hey, don't give up, Keiichi. Stop thinking and start looking. For something. In search of something, I tried pulling open the dresser drawers and opened the windows. I didn't uncover anything meaningful, though. Reina, also unable to stand around doing nothing, was looking around the room like I was.
でもレナ、冷蔵庫や流しの下の棚とかを開いても、リカちゃんは見つからないと思うぞ。
隠れてるかなって思って。
As we were searching, it got noisy outside. Villagers were quickly assembling here, having heard the commotion. Of course, a lot of them were probably Mion, people Mion had called.
私、みんなに話をしてくる。遅かれ、警察も来るだろうしね。大石のやつにも事情を説明しなきゃ。
Mion began descending the stairs, and we followed her out to the front of the house. There were already around 10 adults there, and all of them looked uneasy. I suddenly noticed that the old people from the shrine were here as well, and they were praying for Rika-chan's safety, rubbing their prayer beads. This had gotten bad. This wasn't just a problem between friends anymore.
ミオンちゃん、リカちゃまとサトコちゃんがいなくなったってのは本当かい？
The villagers all formed a ring around Mion, swarming her. Mion raised her right hand as if silently telling them to calm down.
誰かの家にお邪魔していないか、町会の回覧区分に沿って全校をまず調べよう。本人たちがこっちの気も知らずに、誰かの家ですやすやとお泊まりしてる可能性もあるわけだからね。
It would definitely be hard for someone to wake up Rika-chan if she had eaten a good, full meal and fallen asleep like a kitten afterwards. Oh, how nice it would be if that were the case.
こんなことは考えたくないけど、もちろん悪いことが起こった可能性もある。
Mion's face grew remarkably more grim, and a wave of silence washed over the adults.
我々も手分けしよう。昨夜の村長探しで回ったところをもう一度回る。
俺たちはダム現場をよく念入りに探してみる。お前さんたちは学校のあたりを探してみてくれ。
どうしたら、はよ回らんと。行こう行こ
う。みんな、昨日も村長さん探しで徹夜だったからね。寝不足で辛いだろうけど、どうかよろしく。
With that, as their signal, the adults scattered in every direction. I figured I should scatter somewhere as well, so I started walking unsteadily in a direction no one else had gone in. I was getting farther and farther from people. I didn't feel scared or anything, though. If someone were made to disappear, Shion and I should be first. It would have been perfectly normal for me to be scared of the dark. However, I didn't feel that way. Why was that? It was probably because tonight, someone had already disappeared. So, nobody else would disappear tonight. It would take some time before I, exhausted as I was, would feel guilt at the cause of my own selfish sense of relief. Damn. Shit's rough, buddy. Suddenly, my vision cleared and a cold wind caressed my body. This was a hill from which you could see the whole village. Looking down from this hill, I could see lights on here and there, and knew that the entire village had awoken from its slumber. First Takano-san and Tomitake-san, then the mayor, and now even Rika-chan and Satoko had been sacrificed, and word of it was spreading everywhere. The strength in my knees left me. This could no longer be a joke. We could have found them. Mion would have told me I was a worrywart. Reina would just be glad we did. And they would have smiled at me. My hopes disappeared as if I were awakening from a dream. That was what the view I could see was telling me. Following my knees, my arms both bent forward onto the ground, and I clawed at it with my nails. I couldn't figure out if I was feeling sorrow or frustration.
俺のせいなのか。
Shit, man. Couldn't endure the burden of my own sin. I had just told Rika-chan about it. I had nothing to do with it, but Rika-chan and even Satoko had been sacrificed. It was like a cross that Shion and I would each have to bear the weight of until our souls were erased. Well, if I'm going that far, then the problem started long before that. How high is he? I looked away for a second and Keiichi just marathon sprinted up a mountain. Yeah, I'd say he's like looking over the whole village probably right now. Probably not a really high mountain. My original sin of breaking taboo and entering the ritual storehouse without asking. I knew I shouldn't have gone in there from the start. Yet I lost out to cheap curiosity. I hadn't felt so angry at myself until this very moment. It was a crunching sound. I wasn't even interested in who made the noise, despondent as I was. Keiichi's Usain Bolt.
ケイチくん
Crunch.
ケイチくん大丈夫
It was Reina. Perhaps my clawing at the ground made it look as though I was having stomach pains. She ran over and rubbed my back to make me feel better.
俺が全部悪いんだ。俺のせいで。俺のせいで。
Anne.
ケイチくんが何も悪いわけはないよ。自分をどうか責めないでね。
I could tell Reina was doing her best to choose the right words out of consideration for me. That's why I could sense her intent behind those words. Keiichi-kun, you know why Rika-chan and Satoko-chan disappeared, don't you? Is what she really meant to say. Because it was an emergency, Reina had ignored the reason why I wanted to make sure Rika-chan was safe, but I don't like Reina, she freaks me out. I can't blame you after Chapter 1. Now that we'd actually confirmed her disappearance, it was only natural Reina would start to wonder about why. However, with the situation having gone this far, I couldn't possibly tell her now. I didn't want to admit that Rika-chan and Satoko had disappeared, but I couldn't let Reina disappear either.
ケイチくん、こんな風通しのいいところにずっといたら風邪ひいちゃう。
Reina sat down, bringing her eyes level with mine.
子供たちはね、もう解散して家で寝ろって。
Reina showed me her watch as she said that. It was long past 1 in the morning. Time was passing too quickly. Had I been crawling around here for that long?
もう寝ないと明日の学校に差し支えるよ。大人たちだって昨べも一晩中村長さんを探したからみんなクタクタ。今夜は少し早めに解散するって。
I was a little upset that they weren't allotting as much time to this as they had to search for the mayor last night. That was something I, the cause of everything, had no right to criticize them for.
大丈夫。さっきね、警察の人も来たの。今、どんどん街から応援のパトカーが来てるよ。
During that remark, I looked down at the village to see that there were indeed more cars than one would normally expect at this hour, coming from the darkness on the other side of the mountain. However, none of their emergency lights were on. Of course, their sirens weren't wailing either. That's right. All of the incidents that occurred right after Watanagashi were seen as the product of Oyashiro-sama's curse, and would be handled in secrecy. Rika-chan and Satoko, too. Their disappearances would end up exactly like the other serial incidents in the past. Surreptitious. Unresolved. Declared a mystery. And disappear from memory. Rika-chan's face, her sweet face, like a Western doll's, would fade away. Satoko's smile, her energetic, fanged smile, would fade away. The more I tried to remember them, the less I would be able to. I deserved to be called an idiot dozens of times over, and it wouldn't be enough. I couldn't hold back the tears at my own sheer stupidity.
圭一君が何を自分に責めているかわからないけれど、もうやめよう。
I wasn't about to deny it. I couldn't. Even so, I couldn't affirm it either. I wanted to at least keep Reina out of this. If she found out, she would become involved.
頼む、レナ。放っておいてくれないか。俺、きっと、家に帰ったって、眠れない。
If I couldn't get to sleep, then I at least wanted to search for Rika-chan and Satoko until I collapsed. The entire village was looking, and yet they still hadn't been found. Don't think I'd be able to find them if I went looking alone at this point. Still, I had to do it.
俺のせいで、消えてしまったんだ。他の探してくれてる人たちよりも、先になんか、眠れるものか。
I had said that to myself in self-deprecation, but I soon realized that Reina was silently trying to find the meaning in my mumblings. I realized that I had misspoke.
圭一君のせいなの？どうしてそう思うのかな？
Wasn't here for chapter 1, but do you do like question answer or all question and then all answers? Huh? Well, I'm gonna be honest with you, I have no idea what that means. That can't be. Keiichi-kun, you're not at fault. I'm just reading them in order for the chapters. Like, I want chapter 1 and then chapter... Is that not how I'm supposed to do it? Or the chapters are divided in question chapters and answer chapters. Oh, yes, that's fine. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm just doing it in order. Or at least the number order. Yeah. So you weren't here for chapter 1. Okay, so in chapter 1, basically, Reina was the absolute wild one. And was, just freaking, like, stalking Keiichi wherever he went. And, basically trying to kill him. And, Mion also too. Slightly less Mion, but Mion was just as crazy. So the chapter ended with Keiichi ending up killing Reina and Mion with a metal bat. And then he tried to tell Oishi, but he killed himself the same way that Tomitake did. Was there trash involved? Trying not to unspoil. Trash? Well... Perfect, I am caught. Oh, okay. Killing your friends sounds like a great Tuesday night. There was kind of trash where Mion tried to fill a mochi, feed him mochi with the needle in it. So he threw the needle in the trash, but that needle could have been evidence, so he went and tried to search through the trash, but he didn't find anything. So I don't know if that's what you meant. I was happy that Reina said these things to me, but she only did so because she didn't know the truth. She knew that everything had been caused by my breaking taboo on the night of the Watanagashi, and even Reina would curse my existence. However, I can't even allow for those curses. That would mean confessing my own crimes to Reina. If I spilled even one word of having snuck into the ritual storehouse on the night of Watanagashi, when you said, I don't trust Reina after chapter 1, I was like, Maybe you already got to the answer chapter somehow. No, now I know. Perfect. Then, even Reina could disappear tomorrow night. The gentle, spirited, always joking, always howling. But at a time like this, the most dependable person in the world, Reina, might disappear. I don't want that. The anime is also constructed with like all question chapters in the first season and all answer chapters in the second season. Hence why I was so amused someone only finished the first season of Higurashi. Oh Lord. I don't want that. Anything but that. This time, I need to bear my own cross. Alone.
圭一くんがとても仲間思いだって知ってるから。自分を傷つけたくなる気持ちもよくわかるよ。だけど、レナは圭一くんのせいじゃないって知ってる。圭一くんが悪くないって知ってるから。
知ってるって。
Shivering in my veins rushed up my back and replaced the sorrow in my heart with fear. I didn't tell her anything, did I? Maybe I accidentally said something that caused Reina to figure it out? This is bad. Now, Reina will disappear. Reina will disappear. Reina will disappear! Then Reina, the same way I always did, grabbed my head and began to pet it roughly.
圭一くん、ひょっとしてレナも消えちゃうかもしれないって思ってるのかな。お社様のたたりで。
She puts more force into the hand rubbing my head.
だったら安心して。レナは消えたりしないよ。絶対に。
どうして消えないなんて自信を持って言えるんだよ。
I don't know who said that, but it's honestly very funny because you'd only get the question chapters and no answers. I mean, someone who's been sacrificed every night so far. There was no proof that it wouldn't happen again tomorrow night. There was even less proof, after all, that the sacrifice wouldn't be Reina. I don't care who you are. Just, please, if you're going to erase someone, erase me first. Please, stop cruelly getting rid of people we're close to. Like the mayor for Shion and Rika-chan and Satoko for me. Shion's hysterical shouting came back to mind. Must be planning to kill us last of all. Like Higurashi really pops at the answer chapters. I really do like the way this anime VN is constructed. I mean, if it really pops at the answer chapters, then I am excited for that because so far you said this is like the question chapters, because so far these have been great. Like I've really been enjoying this. I've not read a good horror story in a while. Not killing the first people who come to mind. They start by killing those we're close to. And then, after they've caused us so much pain, they'll kill us. That must be what they're doing.
Lena.
I'm such a freaking crybaby, dude. I'm actually crying right now. Please, don't disappear. Please don't. As long as I'm still here, I can no longer conceal the sobs welling up within me.
ほら、圭一くんに涙なんか似合わないよ。みんなのところに行こ 婦人会の人たちがね、お味噌汁の炊き出しをしてくれてるの。飲むと温まって落ち着くよ。
Reina prompted me to stand. I didn't have the energy to oppose her, so I stood as she urged me to. We returned to the shrine grounds to find several gas stoves there with miso soup in big pots. Many villagers there sipped at the soup they were given in dead, stony silence. Expressions were absolutely exhausted. You know, after Higurashi, we did this for Fruit of Grisaya, but the anime for Fruit of Grisaya is absolutely dog shit. Like, I do not like it. The animation's good, but that's about it. I was thinking maybe for anime night we could watch the Higurashi anime after we've read through the whole series. That'd be fun. Everyone had just been running around the village until a little while ago. From the dreary looks on their faces, though, I assumed they hadn't come up with anything yet.
ケイちゃん、どこ行ってたんだよ。ケイちゃんまでいなくなったのかと心配したよ。
You'll hear Satoko's catchphrase a lot. I kind of just want to compare, like, how the anime, because I assume the visual novel came first, obviously. How the anime stacks up to the visual novel.
すまん。
Mion held out some miso soup for me, but I refused the offer. I didn't have much of an appetite.
みーちゃん、
It's pretty close from what you're describing and from what I've seen. Huh.
どう？何か手がかりはあった？
Mion took a sip of her soup, her expression frank.
全然ない。学校が終わってから家に帰って、二人で自転車に乗ってどこかに行ったらしい。
Something I think is interesting about Higurashi that's not from any visual novels I've seen so far is that the story is not linear, like, at all. It's like the opposite of linear. In fact, like, every chapter is, like, in its own little universe. But the overall, like, setting is still the same and the characters are the same, but some events happen differently, to which lead to you to learning different things. Which just, like, and it, like, makes you wonder more things, like, the more and more you read into it. Like, it makes you question everything. Which is, I really like it. Like, it's something I hadn't seen before.
しかも、二人が自転車に乗った姿は全く目撃されていないし。
Amnesia does that too, though I think Higurashi came first for sure. When it gets dark out in Hinamizawa, people quickly vanish from the streets. Aside from adults hurrying back home from town in cars or on bicycles, it was normal to see absolutely nobody walking around outside. It wasn't at all strange that nobody had seen Rika-chan and Satoko riding their bikes.
昨日の村長の時と同じ。お手上げだよ。
Mion's apathetic tone prickled my nerves, but that anger quickly subsided. She had been doing all sorts of things to try and find Rika-chan until just a second ago. If I asked her, she'd probably say she was up all night last night too, looking for the mayor, wouldn't she? She must have been far more fatigued than I was. It works rather well. I think I like that type of storytelling where it's mainly like snippets of information that slowly reveal a bigger picture. It works rather well for horror and thriller type stories. I agree. I definitely agree. Besides, what about me? I had spent the time hunched over in indecision, all alone. I had no right to say anything about Mion.
ケイちゃんも辛いだろうけど今夜はこれで休もう。さっき今夜は解散しようってなったところだよ。これを飲んだらもう終わりにしよう。
終わりなのか？
あ、もちろん終わりじゃないよ。明るくなったら警察も増援を入れて徹底的に探すってさ。沖宮の方に行ってる可能性もあるからね。村長の件も含めて鹿骨市全体で目撃情報がないか洗うって言ってる。それよりもケイちゃんだよ。どこに行ってたんだい？いつの間にかいなくなっちゃうから心配したんだよ。
Suddenly, I was on the receiving end, but didn't have the willpower to respond.
すまん。気をつけるよ。
何もなかった？怪しい人に監視されてるとか、付け狙われてるとか、そういうのはなかった？
Mion demanded with a serious expression. I was being criticized for how inconsiderate I had been, despite being in so much pain. I was frustrated that I was being criticized, but it was my sin. My sin, and I must bear it alone.
何もないよ。でも気をつける。すまん。
Mion, now aware that nothing had happened, heaved a big sigh with her shoulders, looking relieved.
おやおやおや。
The man! My man! Oishi-san! There he is. Best character.
おいしい匂いが漂ってくると思ったら。これはぜひご商売に預かりたいですね。
We heard the repulsive voice of a fat man. Hey! Don't you be shit-talking, Oishi. Now listen here. That's rude. It was Oishi-san, trailed by a handful of police officers. He is acting energetically in a way unfitting given the situation.
大して残ってないですよ。それでもよければ勝手にどうぞ。
Mion didn't like Oishi-san very much. Her cold attitude, though, didn't seem to bother Oishi-san in the slightest. It was like splashing water in a frog's face.
ありゃりゃ。味噌汁のお残りってちょっと塩分高めなんですよね。参ったなあ。君たちはいただきます？
He recommended it to his subordinates, but everyone gave dry smiles and refused.
どうですか？警察の方では何か手がかりはつかめましたか？
Reina's smile was warm enough to replace the miso soup.
大丈夫ですよ、お嬢さん。ご安心、ご安心。ちゃんと探してるんですから。
He didn't say a word about having found any clues. In other words, there had been no progress. It sure was an annoying way of beating around the bush.
それよりも、 もう本当に遅い時間です。どうぞ若い皆さんはお帰りになってお休みになってください。体に触りますよ。
そうだよ。ケイちゃんもレナも、今日はもう休みな。あとは税金で働いてるおっさんたちがやってくれるから。
私たちだって税金払ってるんですけどね。蕎麦屋さんが自分の作った蕎麦食ってるみたいな気分ですよ。なははははは。
I really wasn't in the mood for laughter. In fact, Oishi-san was the only one laughing like an idiot.
じゃあ、本当によろしくお願いしますね。帰ろう、ケイイチくん。明日が辛くなるよ。
そうです、そうです。なんなら、お二人をお送りしてもいいですよ。くまちゃん、車を回してあげてください。
あ、結構です。俺たち、自転車で来てるんで。
ご安心を。私たちワゴン車で来てますから。自転車も積めますよ。
We may have gotten pretty sleepy, but we just need to ride home at this point. I didn't want to bother the police like that. Reina, however, nodded.
せっかくだからお世話になろうよ。私たちだけで帰るよりきっと安全だよ。
When I thought about it carefully, I realized that Reina's idea was extremely rational.
そうと決まれば、行きましょう行きましょう。
じゃあね。おやすみ。レナもケイちゃんも。
うん。みーちゃんも早めに休んでね。おやすみ。
I waved my hand as well, saying goodbye. Rika-chan and Satoko still hadn't been found. My uneasy, however, was steadily being pushed away by sleepiness. Reina showed the police where our bicycles were so that Oishi-san could haul them up into their truck. He prompted us to get into the back seat. I could hear the springs squeaking as I sat down onto a seat that would normally hurt my rear end, but at this point it was very soft and was more than comfortable enough for me to fall asleep on.
では、レディーファーストで。お嬢さんの家から行きましょう。住所はどちらです？
ありがとうございます。私の家はですね、
Reina's voice slowly grew distant. I felt myself being sucked into the void of sleep.
もしもーし。前原さん、完全に眠っちゃってますか？
Hmm? When I came to, it was quiet. The car was parked. Oishi-san was giving me light slaps to the cheek. It didn't feel good at all, so I woke up immediately.
あすみません。すっかり寝込んじゃって。
Something was being held right under my nose. A clump of metal? It was a can of coffee.
ぬるいですがね。甘いカフェオレなら常温でも結構飲めますよ。
あ、どうも。
I mechanically took the can and opened the pull top. The feeling of the warm, sweet liquid going down my throat awakened my sleepy mind. When my drowsiness receded, I started wanting to know why the car was stopped and why I was offered coffee. Oishi-san, who had been in the driver's seat, had at some point moved to the back. Suddenly, I had a very bad feeling about this. It reminded me of the questioning yesterday at the library. It was already too late by the time I realized that I'd made a mistake. Today of all days, it didn't look like I'd be getting away. I had a feeling that until Oishi-san heard what he wanted to, he wouldn't be letting me go.
そんなに構えられても困ります。別に取って食おうってわけじゃないんですから。前原さん。
Oishi-san gulped down the last of his coffee, then stretched wide, showing me how relaxed he was. That, however, only served to heighten my nervousness.
俺に、また何の用ですか？
よう。いえいえ、別に。
Going to evade the question at this point? What a deeply unreasonable man.
私からは用はないんですが、前原さんから私に用があるんじゃないかと思いましてね。
別に、用なんかないです。
ありゃあ。本当に？あるんじゃないですか？
There's only one side door in the back of this truck. In other words, my only exit was blocked off by Oishi-san. I couldn't get away. I could only limply hang my head and maintain my silence. Oishi-san, despite my reticence, relaxed and began smoking a cigarette. Cries of the insects outside seemed to be growing longer and longer, to an amount of time that almost seemed infinite.
前原さんから相談したいことがきっとあったと思ってたんですけどね。
Oishi-san exhaled a puff of smoke. The windows were open, but the tobacco smoke still accumulated inside the vehicle. How much did Oishi-san know? What did he know and what did he want to hear from me? If finding out the truth made you disappear, then if I told him, would Oishi-san disappear too? I had a feeling that I didn't need to worry about that in this case.
どうしてこんなことになっちゃったんでしょうね。
Oishi-san addressed me in a low tone as if he was talking to himself. All this ended up happening? How the hell should I know? That was what I wanted to know.
富武二郎さんと高野美代さん、ご存知ですよね。お祭りの時、園崎志音さんを含めて4人で一緒におられたのを私がこの目で拝見してますから。その富武さんと高野さん、今どうしておられるかご存知ですか？実はお亡くなりになってましてね。気の毒な死に方でした。
Oishi-san probably played that card in order to surprise me. However, I already knew and didn't display the extreme reaction he expected.
おや？ひょっとしてご存知でした？
Unfortunately, for this question in particular, remaining silent was equivalent to saying yes.
じゃあこっちもご存知かな。 富武さんと高野さんがたたりに遭われた理由の方です。何でもですね、入っちゃいけない禁断の建物に入ったからだって言われてるんですよ。
Storehouse for ritual implements. That forbidden shed, sealing away Hinamizawa's blood-stained past. Or the mistake that started it, all happened.
村長さんや古出里香さんもそのせいでたたりに遭われたんだという噂はご存知で？
That would mean it was mine and Shion's fault. He was right. As soon as we revealed what we did,
西宮殿って言いましたっけ？あそこの鍵を簡易なものに付け替えたから賊に入られたんだっていうケチがついてるらしいんですよ。
what? This was news to me.
一昨年くらいまでは西宮殿にはでっかい缶抜きとでっかい錠前がいくつも付けられていたらしいんですよ。ところがほら、神主夫妻がお亡くなりになられて、今は古出里香さんが切り盛りされてるでしょ。缶抜きが重くて大変だから、もっと軽い簡単な錠前に付け替えてほしいと村長さんに相談したらしいんですよ。
I didn't know anything about those big bars he was talking about. But the lock had certainly been a simple one. It was a pretty cheap one too, and it didn't really fit my impression of what a lock for a place you'd store something as important as ritual implements would look like.
リカさんはあの通り小柄な女の子ですからね。錆びついて重くなった缶抜きはしんどかったんでしょうな。で、村長さんが職人を手配して簡単な南京錠で鍵ができるように付け替えたんだそうです。
それが、どうしてケチがつくことになるんですか？
つまりですね、前の厳重な錠前なら賊には忍び込まれなかった。村長さんとリカさんが勝手に安っぽい鍵に変えたから賊に破られたんだ。と、こういう話らしいんですよ。
そんな話。
そういう話がまかり通ってて、一部の村人たちが西宮殿に忍び込んだ賊と賊に破られるような鍵に変えた村長とリカさんを罰したんだ。なんて話があったりなかったりしてるんですよ。相原さん、どう思います？
どう思うって、その一部の村人ってのもよくわからないし。
御三家ってご存知ですかな？綿流しのお祭りの開会式典で各家の代表がそれぞれ挨拶をなさってるでしょ？
見ていません。祭りには途中から来たからよくは。
御三家ってのはひなみ沢の旧家の3つの家のことなんです。具体的に言うと、君吉家、園崎家、古出家の3つのことです。本当に古い家筋らしくてね。大昔から村の決め事は御三家が合議して決めるんだと言われてます。
The Kimiyoshi family. Old man Kimiyoshi meaning the mayor's family. Sonozaki family was Mion's. So the Faraday family was Rika-chan's family then? Time to get some after midnight work done. See you later. No problem, Mo. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you get that work done nice and fast. Yeah. Thank you.
園崎家が戦後に一気に勢力を拡大しましてね。
バイバイ。
例のダム闘争で反ダムの旗頭になってからは事実上ひなみ沢を牛耳るトップに躍り出ました。でもですね、古いしきたりに従い今でも重要な村の方針は御三家で合議して決めているんだそうです。だから渡流しの開会挨拶も御三家の当主がそれぞれなさるんですよ。つまり村長と園崎家の現当主のおばあ様、そして古出家の最後の一人理香さんです。
園崎家が大した家柄だという話は聞かされてたけど、リカちゃんの家もそういう旧家だったのか。
まあご存知の通り親族は全くおられませんから。古出家は事実上全く勢力を持ちませんがね。ただ理香さん個人には求心力があるようで、村のお年寄りには盲信する方が多いと聞いています。
It's certainly true that Rika-chan had an odd sort of charisma amongst the elderly.
で、その御三家ってのが何だって言うんですか？
Oishi-san paused for emphasis, lighting another cigarette.
ここまで説明してもまだ説明が足りませんかね。
わからないから聞いてるんです。
Oishi-san gave me a dry, meaningful grin and blew out another big puff of smoke.
御三家の人間が相次いで消されてるんです。
Except for the Sonozaki.
どういうわけかね。ひなみ沢の内側の古い因習か何かに基づいているんじゃないかと読んでいるんですが、それ以上のことはさっぱり。
そんなの俺にだってさっぱりです。
ですから。君吉家、古出家の当主が消えたんですから、次は園崎家の当主が消えるんじゃないかな。なんて思ったり思わなかったりしたりする今日この頃、いかがお過ごしでしょうか。なははははは。なんちゃって。
園崎家の当主って、誰だよ。
当主は園崎本家のおばあちゃんなんですが、実質上の当主権限はもう孫娘のミオンさんに移行していると見て間違いないでしょうね。
The visage of Mion giving up prompt directions to the adults while searching for Rika-chan sprung back to mind.
ミオンが消える？
Uh-oh. Hadn't even thought of that possibility. My hair stood on end. It's insane!
嫌でしょ？
当たり前だ！そんなの許せるものか！
Clamp. Oishi-san grabbed my shoulders with both hands.
では協力を、前原さん。園崎ミオンさんについて最近気づいたことを何でもいいから話してください。
I was going along with him? By the time I'd realized it, it was too late. Oishi-san brought his face in closer, almost close enough to ram into me, waiting for my next words. This pressure. I can't tear my eyes away from his. That moment, I heard a beeping sound. It was from the driver's seat. He ignored it at first, but then it started to bother him, so he finally let go of me and leaned into the driver's seat.
もしもーし。はいはい、神戸良子。
I was saved. Of course, it's not like I could use this opening to escape.
そうですね。はいはい。では戻りましょう。はいはい。はいはい。
Apparently, he was being recalled. Now that I knew I'd be free, the tension in my body dissipated all at once.
そろそろ戻らないといけないみたいです。これからがいいところだったんですが、残念ですね。
Oishi-san flung open the door, exited, and walked around to the front of the driver's seat. He left the door open. Did that mean I could leave?
前原さんは友達思いの今時関心な若者です。友人のことを警察に喋ると、なんだか裏切っているような気持ちになるのをよくわかっていますよ。前原さん、一晩差し上げますから、ゆっくりお休みになってよく考えてくださいね。前原さんのほんのちょっとの勇気が結局大勢の友人を救うことにつながるかもしれないのです。
Did he want to say that sacrifices wouldn't stop with Rika-chan and Satoko?
わかってると思いますが、綿流し以降、毎晩何かが起こります。これまでは毎年1回だったたたりが、今年は連日。本当に景気のいい年です。
そんなの景気がいいなんて言いません。
おととい、昨日、そして今日。明日の晩も起こらないなんて保証、どこにもありませんよ。それを未然に防ぐのが私たちの仕事ですが、それには前原さんの協力が不可欠なんです。
I looked out the open door to see none other than my own house right in front of me. It creeped me out that he knew my name and address, but I was too sleepy right now. I was too sleepy to care.
まあ、今日はもう眠いでしょう。もう3時になりますからね。どうぞごゆっくりお休みになってください。
はい。では、失礼します。
I was about to get out of the truck as if to deliver a parting blow, Oishi-san said in a raised voice.
私、前原さんが話す気になってくれるまで、毎日来ちゃいますからね。取り調べ室で自白を強要っての、もう時代じゃないと思いますんで。
Couldn't say anything in response, but me slamming the door shut probably served the same purpose. After lightly beeping the horn, Oishi-san's truck drove off. I went to the front door without waving goodbye. The door was locked, but the chain wasn't up. I unlocked the door and entered. And then walked over to the staircase. That was where I lost consciousness. God dang, bro. How many fucking scrapbook notes did she write? Oh my goodness. I feel like we've read damn near all of them. From the scrapbook 9. The Sonozaki family. The one to drastically expand its influence after the war was the Sonozaki family. The leader at the time was Oryu Sonozaki, who still has that seat today. Oryu Sonozaki has grown old, and today you can only catch a glimpse of who she was at the time. From what I've been told, however, she was a leader and extolled as the best in history. Having become so old, aside from going out a few times a week for lessons, she spends her time at home in solitude, and seems to leave most of the ceremonial affairs to her heir, Mion. Thank you for the hydrate, soldier. There are different views on why the successor was not her daughter, but her granddaughter, Mion, but it's rumored that it has to do with disownment of her daughter and son-in-law. That uninhibited granddaughter, Mion Sonozaki, still shows no signs of the dignity required of the next leader. However, she does have Sonozaki blood in her veins, and is permitted the name of Demon. She still doubtlessly requires caution, and is probably hiding her fangs and claws as skillfully as the leaders of the past did. Don't have to tell me she's a problem. God dang. I feel like that's obvious, bro. The elderly leader of the Sonozaki family.
はい。郵便局員も目撃してないそうです。園崎本家は郵便受けにハンコが吊るしてあるそうで、書き留めも宅配便も勝手にハンコをして投函していいことになってるんだそうっす。
そりゃ不用心ですね。ってことは、最後の目撃はいつになるんです？
綿流しの開会式でした挨拶が最後です。その後すぐに帰宅したらしいっすから。
恒例ですからね。話じゃ週に何回かお稽古事で外出してるそうじゃないですか。そっちはどうです？
毎週月曜に集会所で大正事を習ってるんですが、今週は休んだそうです。
欠席の電話とかは？それを誰かが確認したとかは？
いえ、誰も。ただ、たまに休むことがあったらしいので、誰も不審には思わなかったようです。
明日さ、10時くらいになったら市役所のふりして電話してみましょうかね。在宅を確認してみてください。
10時ですね。了解っす。
Ever since, it started to seem more and more like ancient Hinamizawa traditions had something to do with all this. He'd been keeping a careful eye on the three families. At this point, the leader of the Kimiyoshi family and the leader of the Furade family had disappeared. There was only one leader left. Oryu Sonozaki, the leader of the Sonozaki family. She was apparently a pretty old woman. Her dignity hasn't waned, but she still only appeared before people rarely, so it was difficult to confirm where she was at any given time. She, the last leader, hadn't been seen since the day of the Watanagashi. Was she still alive and well within the Sonozaki main house? Or had she...
園崎美音が言うには、体調を崩して寝込んでるんだそうです。
本当に寝込んでるのかな？顔と脈を見てみたいですね。
まったくっす。
The two of them breathed out a big puff of cigarette smoke.
おいさん。園崎本家と古出神社の捜査令状、申請、通ると思います？
Oishi didn't respond, exhaled another cloud of tobacco smoke, his surroundings now as foggy as his mind. From the Scrapbook 10. The Hidden Demon. The inhabitants of Hinamizawa believe that the blood of demons flows in their blood. As such, the character for demon is treated as very sacred. For example, usage of the character in names is apparently a right reserved for only the leaders of the Kimiyoshi and Sonozaki families. Case in point, we can see it in the current Sonozaki family leader's name. Oryu is written with the character. This, and only this, is proof that she is a legitimate leader of the Sonozaki family. In the same way, Mion Sonozaki, its successor, contains in her name, with Mi being written as. It also goes for Oryu's daughter and Mion's mother, Akane, who did not succeed her. It's known that before the disowning, Akane's name was actually written as, though it was changed afterwards to, still read as Akane. Incidentally, it's thought that the first character, the Mayor Kichiro's name, originally meant demon, which can also be read as Ki. It should be said that names using the character aren't limited only to successors of the Sonozaki family. You can even find it in the last names of the three families. For example, the characters for Kimiyoshi are likely a split-up version of, if you write it in reverse and top to bottom, as it clearly resembles the character. As for the Furude family, who have been in the Shinto priesthood for generations, the word for fortune teller can be written without interval characters as. I think that with the addition of a demon's horn, the tick on the top of the character, the became the, that is used in their name now. In the case of the Sonozaki family, where Sonozaki is written, I can't find any reference to the character, perhaps because it's already ingrained into their first names. They were the clan responsible for running the Watanagashi ceremony, so I think that instead they included the contents of that ceremony into their last name. The Zaki in Sonozaki is a conjugation of the word for slice, and the Sono written as probably contains the hidden meaning of human body, as it is a complicated mess, organs, enclosed by four sides. I think in other words that Sonozaki comes from those who slice open the gut. Request denied. Probably talking about the search warrant request.
あ、お疲れ様です。
どうです？何か手がかりはありました？
The officers shook their head in disappointment. Exhaustion was plainly showing on everyone's faces. That was only natural. None of them had gotten a wink of sleep since the day of the Watanagashi.
課長、若い子から交代で仮眠取らせてあげてください。ここからは長丁場になりますからね。無理せず、体を休めながらのんびり行きましょう。
みんなには交代で休めって言ってるんだけどね。みんな遠慮してなかなか休んでくれないんだよ。お医者さんからも言ってくれないか。
ありゃありゃ。みんな遠慮しないでいいんですよ。小宮山君、 若い子から順に交代で休ませてあげてください。
小宮山さん、そうしてあげてください。
After the chief told him as well, Komiyama-san left his seat.
で、課長、例の請求なんですけど、まだダメそうです。
第一、村人の噂だけなんでしょ？もっと具体的な証拠がなければ難しいよ。
その証拠があの中に詰まってるかもしれないんですよ。
その証拠が中に詰まっているという証拠が必要なんだよ。
課長、なぞなぞやってるんじゃないんですよ。死んだ二人を含む4人が綿流しの晩に西宮殿と呼ばれる禁断の蔵に無断で入り込み、それを何者かが見ていた。ここまでは信頼できる情報なんです。
情報と言ったってあくまでも噂だよ。証拠があるわけじゃない。
そりゃまあ、4人が放火無理して忍び込む写真はありませんがね。とにかく、4人は西宮殿の中で何かを見たんです。消されるくらいの何かを。
消されるくらいの何か？それは何だい？
That's why I'm asking for a warrant to go looking for it in the first place.
園崎家絡みの闇市場関係が有力候補ですな。拳銃とか、ご金製の品とか。園崎家の隠し資産ってのも捨てがたいあたりです。
大石さん、気持ちはわかるけど、あの西宮殿ってのは、古出神社にある神聖な建物で、地元の人間への相当な配慮が必要な建物なんだよ。
I heard that there was an hour-long call made from Congressman Sonozaki to the big man. Chief, could he have nailed you back down?
とにかく、相当の証拠がない限り、西宮殿の捜査令状は取れないよ。園崎本家への令状も同じだ。特に、園崎本家への捜査は、四課と県警の暴対が絡んでる。入念な事前調整がいるんだ。
調整がいるってんなら、私直接乗り込んで、つけてきてもいいですよ。四課長はしげちゃんでしょう。
Working with the giraffes on a quick bathroom break just came in to say hi. Hey, Golden. Hope you're having a good day at work.
暴対は三海さん。隣の雀荘で話した方が早そうなメンツですね。
課長にお客様です。
Pushing the employee who guided him in right out of the way was an old man who looked like a Yakuza member given his crested kimono in Hakuma. Did he not get enough of this over the phone?
わしは議員の園崎じゃ。責任者を出さんか。
The hell?
はよせい。
どうも。私が課長の高杉でございます。
お前の名刺なぞいらんわ。お前なんぞいつだって官職に飛ばせるんじゃぞ。それにお前だけでは足らん。大石とかいう男も呼ばんか。神聖な古出神社に捜査令状なんぞを請求しよった罰当たり者じゃ。
申し訳ございません。大石はただいま捜査に出ておりまして、なかなか連絡がつきにくく、私が代わって受けたまわりますので。どうぞ、おかけください。
The chief's eyes were telling me to get out of here. Perhaps I'll gratefully accept this favor. Maybe I'll go lay down in the nap room.
よいか。古手神社はそもそも 公暦2600年に次ぐ2500年の歴史を有する神聖にして犯すべからずの聖地なのじゃ。八百万の神々とお社様と先祖の霊を祭り、日が昇りてから沈むまで、月が昇りてから沈むまで、ひなみ沢を見守る尊い神社なのじゃ。それを土足で踏みにじろうというバカがいる。そもそも信仰の自由は憲法で定められた国民の最も尊い権利であろうが、それを自らの捜査の怠慢を口実に汚そうという魂胆。こんなものは断じて許せんぞ。聞いておるのか、大田家が。わしを怒らせてただで済むと思わん方がいいぞ。
Oh my god. I'm angry now. Now I'm angry. Oh my goodness. Goofy, yeah. Alright, how many tips do we have now? Oh, we got 3 full pages? Oh no, almost 3 full pages. That's a lot of tips. Well, 90% of the fucking tips are scrapbook papers. Good lord. Alright, I feel like we are coming close to the end of this chapter, so I'm gonna go ahead and save it. We're gonna go and call it there for today. And next time, I think we are going to try to finish off Chapter 2 of Higurashi, which has been very interesting so far. And we're gonna go ahead and raid someone real quick. If I do say so myself. And I do. Let me find. Ooh, we're gonna raid Sugar Sprouts. Yeah. Raid Sugar Sprouts. And this is the raid message. This is the greatest bear raid of all time. Alright guys, go ahead and copy that raid message. I'll see y'all in there. Please show Sugar lots of love and support, and I'll see y'all later. Bye bye!